What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Heath Mullikin Project, the podcast where we're trying to help you discover your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. What are we doing? This is episode 250, and I just wanted to take a moment and celebrate that. That's a pretty big that's a pretty big deal. For those of you who don't know, kind of like let's talk about Heath's history of podcasting or whatever. So I would say really, I didn't call it a podcast, but I started this thing when I lived in Denton, North Carolina, 2008, 2009, called Daily Dose of Heath. It was just on YouTube, and it was one man, one mic, 3 minutes, where I was just 3 minutes talking about stuff, and I had a lot of fun doing that. It just got to be a lot doing a daily thing. I used to blog. I had a MySpace. I wish I could go back and download a lot of my MySpace blogs. I can't even remember what they called them. And then Facebook kind of had a blog feature, and then I had a blog spot, and then I had WordPress, and anyway, uh, when I moved back to South Carolina in 2010, I had just been asked to be a regular guest on the Techology Show, which was a podcast, technology, theology, everything in between. And when I moved to South Carolina, I said, "Hey, do you guys want me to be on here every week?" They said, "Yes, we want you to be a co-host." So, I mean, I've been podcasting pretty consistently 15 years, almost 15 years. Started took kind of what I learned with the double drop or with the Techology Show and started the double drop kick show in 2014 with my buddy Mark Whitman. We're over 300 episodes with it. I think the Techology Show, we got to about 250 episodes. I can't remember the last episode may have been like 243 or something. And it was weekly. So, double drop kick shows, over 300 episodes. I've been doing the Tapped In Indie Wrestling podcast. Been doing that for about a year. We're probably at about, 50, 60 episodes with that. And then I started the Heath Mullikin Project. And I'd started other podcasts. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is my show, so I can kind of do what I want. I had started some other podcasts. I'd started the Rural Pastor podcast. I started the Chase Your Line podcast. And when I started Heath Mullikin Project, December 31st, 2018, I knew that my wife Karen was getting more sick, and just kind of wanted to do a daily diary of what we were doing. I had no idea. Never in a million years did I think that within 3 weeks she would be gone. So I think I just did the math. And so for episode 250, I've averaged, since the podcast started, an episode every 9 days. Even though I've taken large chunks of time off. And if you've been following this, I've tried to be a lot more consistent and go into the video format here in 2025. And I mean, there's a lot of significant things happening this year. I think certainly when the average podcast lasts 4 episodes, and you can do, several years ago, I was trying to launch a whole podcast network, and I had a buddy named Chase Smith who did, and figured it out, and they've done really, really well. I just, it didn't work out, whether it was timing on my part or just figuring out the format. I think sometimes I get lost in the weeds. I'm a little bit of a dreamer. Excuse me, a whole lot of a dreamer. And sometimes I get lost in the minutia and lost in the weeds and just don't pull the trigger. And I think that's kind of what happened with that project. I think But yeah, some significant things happening. 250 episodes. That's a pretty, to me, that's a pretty significant thing. Having that to go back and look at. I'm turning 50 this year. Turning 50. By the time you're watching this, I turned 50 in April of 2025. Planning the birthday party, Mullapalooza. Been wanting to do this for a while. So, hey, Heath, what do you want to do for your birthday? I want to sit by the door and I want to greet every friend that comes in, and I'm going to tell them how much I love them and how much they mean to me. It's a pretty simple thing. We're going to have ice cream. We're going to have ice cream sandwiches. There's going to be some cake. There's going to be some punch. A great friend had this really amazing idea last night of going back, finding all the episodes of Heath's Treats and having those on there, and just having like a sampler platter of different things that I had done. So yeah, so turning 50, and then this year's pretty significant. 1995 was a really significant year in my life. I think 1995 was the first time. It was the year I met my wife, first of all. It was the year that I went to England and did an internship over there. A very significant time in my life, very formative experience. And it was also, there were a lot of things that happened that year. Good things. But there were a lot of things that happened in 1995 that I don't even really know the word, that have been just kind of played in the back of my mind. Things that you kind of work through for 30 years that just even now, the Lord is still helping me process a lot of those things in very good ways. And so, I'm celebrating that milestone, celebrating that significant year by just doing the good work inside, and trying to get my mind and my body and my spirit just in a really, really good place. And it's only appropriate to hit this episode milestone. And what I would say to anybody watching this is, if there's something you want to do, you just got to do it. I wanted to play in the NBA when I was a kid. And I did none of the things you have to do to play in the NBA. I did not understand the practice and the commitment and the skill. You take out, you're short and you're slow. Take out all of that. That would have meant I would have had to work 100 times harder than the next guy. And the fact is, I didn't do that. I did not do any of the things. I didn't even do enough to make my high school basketball team. I did not work hard enough to do that. So that wasn't a dream. That was a wish. That was a fantasy. And I wish I could go back, because if I had have worked on basketball, if I had have done the 10 times work, I wouldn't have regretted that, because it would have given me skills. It would have given me resiliency. It would have given me determination, and I would have gotten better at basketball. And I regret not doing that, even if it didn't pay off in the NBA. That would have been a good experience for me. And I think a lot of us we have a dream or we have a goal, and any dream or goal worth achieving is going to take a tremendous amount of work. It's going to take a tremendous amount of determination. It's going to take a tremendous amount of resilience. And I think a lot of people, myself included, you start a podcast and you think, oh man, this is going to go viral and I'll figure out how to make money and da 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 da. And that's normally not the case. And so for me, what this podcast has become is an outlet for me. I do believe, and I have people that reach out to me who say this podcast is an encouragement to them. And I'm very grateful for that. And I want it to be. I want just to kind of share my journey and be vulnerable. And if my discovering of my purpose, passion, and possibilities can propel someone or help someone or encourage someone to really hone in and focus on the important things that help them achieve their dreams and their goals, man, mission accomplished. If I don't make a dime off of that, I don't care. But for me, at the end of the day, it's an act of worship. It's an act of obedience. It's an outlet of creativity. And to be honest, that's what it's become. It started just because people wanted to know how we were doing. And everybody was asking questions, and you can share on social media, and this podcast became a way for me to process a lot of things. And there are probably 20 or 25 episodes that I recorded on my phone that never saw the light of day. That were just things I needed to say, that just things I need to get off my chest, things I need to get out of my heart. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for the medium of podcasting. I'm grateful for the skills that I've had to develop to learn how to podcast. And, sometimes I remember when we started the Double Dropkick show, I was looking at podcast statistics every day. And you could, the way our service works, shout out to Blueberry, all those folks. Great service. It's a service I pay for. But you could see people around the world. Man, we got a listener in Russia. What in the world? And we've had people from Germany comment on our podcast, and it's just a weird, people from all around the world who are discovering this little wrestling podcast. And then there's some days you look at some of your stats and you're like, bro, ain't nobody watching this. And that's fine. And I think there's this tension of, do I want to do what it takes to get this message out to more people? Well, yeah, 100%. And I'm working on that in a couple of things. As you're watching this, I'm either on vacation or getting off vacation. So anyway, and on the vacation, I'll be working on some of those things. But at the end of the day, this is something for my heart. And I know I say that all the time. And if me sharing my heart and me being vulnerable, and somebody said, man, you're really vulnerable on your podcast. I'm like, I don't know that was I did not want to be vulnerable, but I just felt knew that maybe somebody else was going through grief, and maybe I could leave some breadcrumbs. I'm pretty sure I've said that on the podcast before. This podcast is about leaving breadcrumbs for people who are hurting to find their way home. And so no matter what purpose this serves, if it helps people, if it encourages people, boom, that's a win. I know it encourages me just to talk about these things. It's a talking is a skill that I'm trying to get better at. And there's sometimes things happen in my life where I'm reminded I'm a professional speaker, but there are some moments that make me speechless. And those are good. Those are good things. Those are good. I'm still in awe of all the goodness of God and His blessings on my life, that just living long enough to do 250 episodes of one podcast. I don't even know. I would definitely say, I mean, I've, I mean, I, I've been on a lot of podcasts and I've loved every minute of it. And podcasting has never felt like, it's always felt good. It's always felt like an outlet where whether I'm talking about wrestling or theology or technology or discovering your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. I know one of the things I'm doing on my vacation is creating the content for the podcast series that's coming up. Really excited for that. Excited to just share more details of my journey and how you can start your very own podcast using free tools or paid tools, but how the experience I've had of having this outlet, you can do the same thing and you can impact others and you can make money from it if you're good enough, if you do it the right way. Have I made money from podcasting in the past? Yes, I have. And it's been great. Do I care if I make money again? Not really. So, again, thank you for your continued support. Remember, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Facebook. Moving forward, episodes are going to launch Monday mornings, and we're trying some new things. I'm excited to try these new things to get the word out. Make sure if you haven't gone on Facebook and liked the Heath Mullikin Project page, I need you to like it and follow it. Even though the purpose for getting 100 likes was to do Facebook Live videos, which are now going away. I mean, you can still do Facebook Live and they delete after 30 days, which stinks, because I love doing live videos, but I've always, anytime Facebook says, do you want to delete this video after 30 days? I'm like, no, I want this video to last forever. And now, basically, Facebook lied to me, because all the times it asked me that question, it didn't matter, because they're going to delete all those videos after 30 days. So I think I got some time to download them all, because some of those were pretty good. I did fireside chats, and it was all good. It was all good. It was a lot of fun. So whatever I can do to help you discover your purpose, passion, and possibilities, we're going to do the podcast series, and then we're really going to start digging into purpose, passion, and possibilities for the rest of the year. Always going to, grief is always going to be a subject that we talk about on this podcast. God is just so good. A lot of great things happening in my life. A lot of irons in the fire. Somebody said, "You're so busy." Not busy. What do I say? I'm active. A rolling stone gathers no moss, somebody said. That's right. But you know what? I truly believe I can, because I've learned to rest and Sabbath and take vacations. That's how I stay active. You gotta sleep every night. You gotta take a Sabbath, and you gotta take vacations. And so that's what I did this week. So God bless you all. So honored that you watched this. Best days ahead. Our best days are ahead. And Our best days are ahead, and I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited for your future. So thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.